Hi everybody, my name is Brian Loprinzi. I'm a part of the Josephine Mine Project. I believe this to be the most significant activity I have participated in my whole career. Now the purpose of this production is to make available lease opportunities for the 50 mines that we have discovered, each potentially equal in worth to the Josephine Cache mine in mineral resources. Because of the potential security risks of the Josephine Cache mine, which may contain over $1 billion of gold bullion, we've decided to show only one picture of the dark ledge for the final 5 scans in this video. The preliminary data sets presented in this video are representative of the mines we have available for immediate release. Data from additional discoveries are being processed on an ongoing basis and are available by request. If you'd like to learn more about the history of the mine or to the substantiation of our mining claim, please visit our website at www.josephinegoldmine.com.
Hey everybody, this is Brian. We're up here at our mining claims up in the high Uintas. It's a nice cold day in the middle of September. We're having a great time. We come up here today to do a demonstration of some of the technology that we have to detect subsurface anomalies and mines and tunnels and things like that. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what this technology is and how it works?
My name is Butch Davies. What this is a system that reads the magnetic impulses that come out of the center of the earth, and the signal varies depending upon whether there's voids or different minerals that will reflect on our scan.
So your scanner uses basically magnetics to work and give us some usable information out of the computer. And what kind of device do we have over there?
Okay, that's the scanner. Rex is holding the scanner that he walks across the ground with in order for me to pick up a reading here on my system. Awesome.
All right, so why don't we give a little demonstration. And real quick, about how far does this generally work into the ground in terms of what kind of data we can get?
It's real effective down to 120 feet, but its depth is unlimited.
Fantastic. All right, let's give her a whirl and see how it works.
All right, let me know when you're ready.
So over here we've got a 36-inch wide scanner that we're going to do some passes with. And that's going to give us some data to interpret, and when that's done we'll take a look at the computer and see what the readout looks like.
Go. Pause. Okay.
All right, we're back at our camp. We're going to take a look at what that data looks like generally on a readout. Now keep in mind, this is a type of equipment that the more passes that you do across a greater surface area, the more data can really be pulled out. So in this we did only 2 passes, which is very limited, but this will give you some kind of an idea of what the data looks like and what kind of interpretation it requires. So,
first thing is you need to look at this color bar over here on the side. That this gives you the strength of your readouts.
Yep.
Okay. Now, if you go back to where we did our scans, the orange up here at the top is ground level. And these little drop down points are actually prairie dog holes that we went over. And the blue one is the deepest. And without digging it up, we can't tell you how deep it is. But if you refer back to the color chart, you could compare the two to see the depth or of what we shot. Now, when this says stronger and weaker, that means it's reading the signal from underneath the ground.
now for those who are listening, we're not getting very good video of the script on the screen, but basically the colder the color, the weaker the signal, right?
Correct.
And the hotter the color, the warmer the signal. Now, when it's a warm signal, that means it's more dense?
Yes. The more dense it is, the higher up the color bar it will be, and when we go across a void, say like a culvert or something like that, it will drop down into the blue. Now, we're using this simply to locate where the tunnels are that were made previously by other people who have mined this area.
Okay, this part shows government scientists from the retired that were part of the Department of Defense that are using this most advanced underground survey apparatus, what is called, extensively used by the military. They used it in a mine they were working in Nevada for 10 years, so they know their business. And there's people out there that know how to run this equipment, and it's still available. You can get it. Some places it's been changed, but this particular one, its claim to fame is it'll go down to at least 150 feet, which would locate any kind of a tunnel or gold stash or anything. And it's used by the Bureau of Land Management. It's been used by the Forest Service, and the list goes on, including major mining companies. And treasure hunters acknowledge it as one of the most productive because it identifies man-made tunnels and, of course, many other things, a variety of things, precious metals, both native and bars. And we're going to show you a scan of what we discovered exactly that has the, you can see the sides of the tunnel. They're obviously man-made, and it's a color that is indicative of processed gold. I mean, the ore has been turned into bars, and this particular mine is supposed to have 600 pounds of mines of bars near it where they were buried and hidden by Native Americans after they killed who were called the Blackbeards that they caught mining up there back in the 1800s. And it's a buried famous mine. We've called it the Pueblo Mine, and we're showing you what it looked like before the Forest Service buried it. And we have a plan of operation now to excavate it. We're going to do that next spring. Since we've located it, we're going to go in with a piece of equipment, dig it out, and continue the ventilation we need for the shaft that's part of this system.
That's awesome. So you're saying government people have done this?
They've done it extensively. The military used it a lot. There's a couple of trade names. The one that I know is Accurate Locator, but I think they sold it out to someone else. But the fact that it's available in other forms, and that it's exactly designed for what our purpose is, for what we're doing up at Hoyt Peak, is obvious.
No, it sounds really well suited for the purposes up there. You're saying treasure hunters have found treasure with this equipment too, right?
Yes, you can go on TreasureNet or any of the other, it's one of the major ones, and the scanners, you know, underground survey scanners, they've used them a lot, so they're available. If you're trying to locate one of our mines that we're leasing to you, where the tunnels go, and you know, if there's any stash or anything in them, which there probably is, because they got driven out, and so they'd have to leave it. And we've got a website, josephinegoldmine.com, that explains all of that.
Now, pretending that it's my first time, I know it's not my first time talking about this, but let's just say for our listener and viewer audience that it was.
A new viewer.
Yeah. How would I participate, you know, with a moderate budget? I'm not the richest man in the world. What's the cost for this kind of thing? How do I get involved?
No costs for the lease, but it's a conditional lease where you get a percentage of the net. And we'd rather have people that will be willing to clear and mine existing tunnels that we have evidence even that they've been mined recently by the descendants of the people that originally did it.
Yeah. Now, that brings up an
That
important
means,
question,
that means
too.
they've cleared the tunnels within the last 2 years.
Oh, yeah. No,
Why do we need a big mining company for that operation? Because they're a can of worms. I've got a story.
I was just about to ask why there's not a big mining company up there already.
Well, they have their own qualifications. They'll come in, they'll buy the claim, they'll give you a royalty of maybe 1%, and you'll never see it. Sometimes we have a man that's in, his name's Bobby, his first name. I won't give you his last name, but he owns the Josephine mine at the Henry Mountains, and it was a nightmare. He sold it to a group from South Africa that were a mining company, and they gave him $125,000 up front. And he never saw another penny, and then they tried to sue him to get the claim, and it cost him $150,000 to get his claim back. That wasn't bad enough. The attorney that defended him tried to sue him to get the claim after they defended him, and so he had to spend another $150,000 to save it from them. And so
that's sadder than most country songs, I'll tell you what.
Yeah, and it's one of the richest gold mines in the Henry Mountains there ever was. It's 6% or 6 ounces to the ton in the shaft, and they only went down, and then they located after he got a $10 million judgment on him, and they moved to Israel. So he can't be, they can't be pursued, and he's back with his mine, but $300,000 poorer. We don't want that kind of situation to exist up there, and that's the loan shark way it is. When it comes to gold, there's no conscience to some people, especially the big mining companies. They do whatever they can, however they can, to make sure you don't come out on the right end.
Yeah, that sounds like a good can of worms to avoid.
Yeah,
now,
that's why we want a direct lease and do a conditional lease where you have to mine it. You can't just sit on it, because there's a law now that Obama passed that won't allow you to do that. So if you're going to pay our consultation fee based on what we've already researched and what we're going to have to do to help you in the future, which is moderate, if you want to pay that and you don't do anything with it, then the contract, the lease you've got will say it's null and void after a year. So you've got next year the scanning equipment. We can show you some mines that are probably already cleared, and we've got that website that explains in page 1 and 2 exactly why we know what we have will be something you can do without big government, and we've got a plan of operation to open the one that is the famous mine. Okay.
Now, what kind of a...
I'm probably talking too much.
No, it's good. That's all good information. What kind of time frame are we looking at upcoming here? Is this a seasonal, a year-round type of an activity? When do we start? When can the consumers start?
The day you call, you can start the next day, all year round, because there's snowmobiles and heated snow cats that can go up, and we've got a GPS coordinates on Google Earth so you can find exactly where your mine would be.
And how many mines do you have mapped out right now?
58, and we're going to show you. We're going to show you a picture of that right now as part of this presentation.
Awesome, awesome.
This particular scan shows there are 2 potential void areas. One here, one there. I can change the view on this to show the same material. It's the same stuff we showed before. There's your blue, the potential tunnel. There's another blue, which shows an area of potential tunnel. Potential void. This particular scan shows areas of weakness in the blue. 1, 2, major areas. 3, these would be really small areas of concern. To look at, I can take this information and show you at a different angle. It's the same information again, just showing you a different view. Again, there is a potential void or tunnel right here in the blue. There's a potential tunnel right there in the blue. This particular scan shows the blue as being the background of the scan where there is no anomaly. In the center, there is an anomaly which is indicative of a potential precious metal. The right is more blue, which there is no anomaly or any other material. I can take this scan and put it in a different view again, showing you a little bit different angular view for it. Again, the anomaly for this particular scan is located in the center of the scan, and it's worth it is there. It's worth looking at. On this particular scan, there are two areas that look like tunnels, potential tunnels. One on the left, one on the right, is indicated in the blue. I can show this angle, I can show this view in a different, I can show this angle differently. Again, looking at it from the top, indicative. Again, we show the one potential tunnel on the left and another potential tunnel on the right. This particular scan has a couple areas that have additional things we need to look at. One in the middle and a couple more off to the right. I can show you an alternative view on this that's available on this machine. It looks a little bit different. The area that be looking at concern or would want to look at additionally would be the green area over here as a potential void. This particular scan shows three areas of interest which are potential tunnels, one on the left, one in the middle, one on the right. I can show you an alternative view using this equipment here, and this view here shows the one area of potential tunnel. The other areas that showed over here on the right, which were in the blue, are hidden by other colors, but they are there. This particular scan shows only one area, which would be a potential tunnel, is right here in the middle, representative of the blue area. I can show you an alternative view using this equipment. And that area, the one potential tunnel shows on this view as being right here. Some of it is, the other color is hidden as it goes back. This particular scan shows one area of interest being a tunnel, potential tunnel, over here on the far right of the scan. I can show you an alternative view using this equipment. And the blue potential tunnel shows over here on the far right. This particular scan shows an area of interest being a possible void or tunnel here in the middle and one on the right. I can show you an oblique view or an alternative view using this equipment. And the major area that I identified are in the blue, here and here. This particular scan has 3 points of interest, which could be possible tunnels or voids. One on the left, one in the middle, and again, one on the right. I can show you an alternative view using this equipment. And the areas that we identified previously are in the blue of here, here, and here. This particular scan has one area of interest being a potential tunnel or void on the right where I'm there. I can show you an alternative view using this equipment. And that's target is shown in the blue right here that we've seen previously. This particular scan shows a tunnel of a void area right here where I'm circling. I can show you an alternative view. And the target we looked at previously is right here. It's identified in the blue.
Cool. You're rolling.
Now, are you close enough to it?
Yep.
That's the most important thing. Okay, this is a person, an ancestor of one of the ancient Spaniards. They kept mining this. This is not too many years old. Here he is. Here's his window. Here he's going down the mine, and here's a ladder right here. these are two pictures of what he's been doing. He's been up here, he's gone down here, he's been in the mine. Here's the two pictures of what he's doing. I don't know what this is, but this is definitely part of it. You can see it looks like a bird.
No doubt about it.
And so this is absolutely not part of this natural stuff. Like it has nothing, when it's part of the fungus that grows on the tree, it's raised like this. These are all indented. So these were man-made. They have nothing to do with this because these are all raised, these are all indented, and they spent a lot of time to tell their story right there.
And that's the northeast side of the tree? Or do we want to blur that out?
We don't want to blur that out. Doesn't really matter. Did you take it?
Yep. And it appears that there's another older marking back here. Also a window. Looks like 3 lines. What do you suppose that might be, Gary?
This looks like maybe another ladder. See this right here? That's indented also. That is not part of this stuff.
Fascinating stuff.
Same thing here. This is indented. It's not up like here. And there's something here that he did. That's all indented. And then it looks like this is another story up here. It looks like there's a guy here that it looks like he's got a mining tool right here. See that right there? Here's a guy and he's mining. See? And over here he's standing, he's in a mine someplace, and up here I don't know what that is, but this is all indented. This is another story about one of the ancestors of what he did here sometime.
Now that's only about a 10-foot distance from the previous tree. I wonder what another 10 feet will bring.
I'll tell you when they'll bring this right over here.
Oh boy.
This is indented, and it's a mining tool. You can see the mining tool. We've got one. I found one up by our camp that looks just like this, with this kind of a thing on it. And here are 5 slashes. They're too far apart to be a bare slash, which is saying we are mining 5 mines here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe 6. I don't know. I don't know what that is. But definitely 5 mines are here. This is one that's not as big, this one here probably is a huge mine, and they're all right there. So,
Looks like 6, Gary, huh?
what?
Looks like 6.
Yeah. It is.
And did you talk about that one on top pointing?
Which one pointing?
Isn't this a pointer?
Oh, I forgot. Over here.
Yeah.
No, it's over here.
Oh, is that right?
Right over here. One over here. This story over here, whatever it is, has also got a bird here. This is all indented. And you can, no, you got to get over on this side. And his beak is pointing towards the mine. Now point right over there. And there's the tailings right there. There's the huge tailings. We're going to go over
On the top of the hill there, or?
that hill right there, straight through, is at the top of that is what we're going to show you. These are all
Excellent.
tailings right here.
These are all new trees.
Over here slope gently down. Right here they abruptly bank off. So this is probably a tunnel that's been covered over.
Can you point out the banking off part again? Just for the camera?
Right here. See how it banks off there?
Yeah. It's
And it's only right in here. See how it's all sloping? See, this is all a slope here, but right here it banks off. So this is where we're going to scan right here to see if we can find a tunnel. We have a scanner up here. found the smelting tool that we have pictures of. It's rounded and pounded on one edge and flattened into a hook on the other side. We'll show that. Right here is where we found it. This is all slag from a smelting operation. And this is where I found that the rock we're going to show you, which is pure sparkly silvery like stuff. This is where I found it, right here. And it looked like that they spilled the silver or the gold or whatever on the rock, because it's not part of this stuff at all. And look right, and then come, just leave it on.
Yep.
And come right back over here. Walk right back over here. Two years ago, this pit right here had logs in it. It had 2 or 3 logs that were stuffed in it that way. Now they're gone.
About how large were those logs in diameter?
They were about that big around.
Oh boy. Somebody must have really wanted to pull those out.
And all of this stuff over here, there wasn't this much. There was some, but nothing to the level that it is now today. This looks like this right here. It went down into, I don't know.
Gonna dig that out.
I'll turn it off now.
Yep.
So here we prove beyond a reasonable doubt that there are mines with recent activity that have already been cleared, that are still active producers because they've been covered over.
And that was like Spanish law, right?
Yeah, which is testified in our General Kimball report when his prisoner confided in him that all the active mines had to be covered over. So that's why no one's found any up here, because they're all covered over because they're all active.
Yeah, as I see it, there's quite a few reports, real credible ones with high assays from I think particularly the 1890s mining world in Utah, with some of them having estimates of around about 250 ounces of gold to the ton, which is amazing. So could this mine deliver the same type of wealth as that one that was reported like half a mile from here?
If so, you walk down the tunnel, bring out a ton, and you have $370,000 because 250 ton at over $1,400 an ounce is a lot more than it was then at $20.67 of gold. Simple to mill, and because it's free gold, and then smelt into bars with no tax, royalty, or hostels to worry about. And of course, I'm talking about the modern hostels being big mining companies.
Yeah, that's really the perfect world. Now, what's kind of the least you can expect with this?
Number one, it's your responsibility for all the work and the expense to recover the gold, if any. 2, we could hire somebody to bring it out, but that takes money, and we are not financially able to have 58 continual mining operations going on at the same time next spring when we bring in our camping equipment and our shovels. And that may change, so it may be to our viewers' best interest to get on this while you can.
Yeah. And, you know, the way I'm looking at this is it's a win-win, because aside from the fact that you have the right to occupy a full-time mining camp, you know, without a Forest Service fee, you get that privacy. You're not listening to somebody else's generator 5 feet away in the next camping stall. You know, you've got more than just a few of the months in the summertime you know, to do your camping and stuff, and you can pass on the property in the form of the lease, that is, to your kids, or you know, they get to experience this place because it's one of the most beautiful places I've ever been. It's cool all summer, it's high altitude and just beautiful, and it's, you know, it's a relatively small cost for that kind of a potential reward. What else could you really want?
Well, you got to remember that what you could want is to make it really happen.
Yeah.
and this seems like it's too good to be true, and I admit that. But we've got a lot of documentation in our websites and other other YouTube productions. You review them if you're remotely interested,
Yeah.
and there's a possibility of this being a win-win for you. Why not? You know, there's probably a lot less productive things that you can spend your time on.
Oh, I know a lot about that.
Okay. Remember, the lease is conditional, and I get a share of the net profits, as most leases contain.
Yeah, it's pretty typical.
Now, there's another thing. Leases you can sell or assign, but in this case, since I want to be able to control who's up there and what kind of people we're dealing with, we don't want a bunch of people that we can't trust or have criminal aspects going on or whatever with, violating maybe the antiquity law because they find a cache and don't want to report it.
Yeah, that'd be bad.
So I need to check you out if you are interested to make sure you're the kind of people I want to be up there. This is really what you'd call a really protected, secure community.
And bottom line with this type of thing, you know, the one really big advantage we've got is we don't have to engage these robber baron kind of mining companies because we don't. Their so-called development and expertise with millions of dollars worth of equipment and tons of personnel, they're just not needed.
Yeah, and our ancient and recent Spanish mining friends, which we should be sincerely appreciative of, have already done the discovery and the development. We don't need any mining company that hides out in another country. Contact us, Worthy, JosephineGoldmine.com, for more good news.